So it's me again. So I don't exactly know how long I'm gonna talk for, but I just figured I would talk about something that I was thinking about recently. Because a lot of I had the opportunity for a lot of things recently. Um, so where do I start? So me and this other person, obviously we have this binder collection, and I think I've added a few things over time, and sometimes I even still add new sets or micro sets that I like to add in there. But for the most part, it is every hollow, mostly, or like, so it's every hollow from the WotC sets in First Dead, some Japanese equivalents too. That includes the secret rares, and then every EX card. That's also a work in progress. Maybe minus a couple promos and stuff, but like if we just assume Fire Red, Leaf Green, Ruby Sapphire, like Rocket Returns, Deoxys, whatever. Every EX card from those sets. Um, and then some promotional cards and some trophy cards. And that's kind of essentially all the bases covered for our binder. And lately I've been really thinking about the concept of uh scarcity and rarity versus completion. And what I mean by that is I'm just a regular person. You know, I'm just a regular person. I don't have hundreds of thousands of dollars to just sink into a Pokemon collection in this current insane market. I have a limited amount of funds. And some of the cards that we still have to get are very expensive. We're talking, $3,000, $4,000, $10,000. Um, you know, um, Thankfully, a lot of the big ones managed to get them out the way very early. The Skyward Sword, Gold Star Ray, Shining Charizard, Lugia. Had a lot of opportunities to get a base set Zard back in the day, but it just factors. That's the whole uh, topic of what I'm actually talking about today, right now, should I say. So, like I said, it is scarcity and rarity versus completion. So, to elaborate on that, what I mean is this card, time space distortion in Japanese, it's way better in Japanese. Spirit as of an Uxie. I broke it out of a BGS 9.5. I think it cost me $35. So we'll just say this card is $35 or whatever. And this is a Zubat from Fossil. This card probably costs a couple pennies or a couple cents. So if I have a collection or if I'm working on a collection, and ignore what's actually inside the collection or whatever. Let's say I'm new to Pokemon and I just enjoy collecting things. I just enjoy collecting cardboard, no matter what the cardboard is. And I just enjoy filling up a binder. that would be someone who favors completion. But let's say I'm someone who I do enjoy collecting, but I want to collect the very rare stuff. I don't mind it taking a lot of time if that means that, even if I get one card every 6 months or something. Let's just say I'm a little kid, I get $2 a day or something. Let's say I get $2 a day, and I only enjoy getting the rare cards, even though they're very expensive for me. And I get $2 a day, so maybe I can only get one card every few months. But the completionist, who values just filling up the binder, even if it's cheap cards or whatever, they can get several cards a week. So we've got the scarcity slash rare collector and the completionist, completist, whatever, who gets a bunch of cards every day because they're very cheap. Recently, my predicament has been that I have a limited amount of funds, and I have to disperse those funds amongst our binder. And it's tricky because Pokemon is only getting more and more expensive, unfortunately. It's only getting more and more expensive. And like I said, I have a limited amount of funds. So as of recent, with what I want to add to the binder, there are definitely some expensive cards on there. For example, I've recently been, tailing the Miracle Diamond card. 2007, maybe Spring Battle, Summer Battle Road, one of them. Maybe even Autumn. Definitely not Autumn. Probably Summer or Spring. Miracle Diamond. Very expensive card. 5-figure card. Just recently sold for 29 something. Or 28 something. In a PSA 10. I only collect raw. Or maybe, 8 and crack out. So even then, still going to be upwards of 12, 15, heck, maybe even 20,000 straight up just for the raw card. Very expensive. Very, very expensive. And that's a card that I have my eye on as the scarcity slash rare collector. Maybe gets one card every 7 months. But then the other side of me is the completionist. And that side of me says to myself, well, that's a really expensive card. It costs a lot of money. Think about what you could do with that money for the sake of the binder. If instead you didn't buy that card, what if you put that money towards many other cards? And I think about it that way. And it's like, dang, that is a lot of money. With 20 grand, I could probably fill a lot of micro sets, a lot of sets and a lot of micro sets. At least 20 grand can cover a lot of micro sets. You could probably get, I could be pushing it, but honestly, you could probably get, at least in a raw format, you could definitely get the entire EX era, undoubtedly, for 20 grand. Or less, of course, definitely less than 20 grand. But yeah, in a raw format, just straight up. I can't remember how many EXs there are. I think there's 14 or 16 or something. But for 20 grand, I honestly want to say, yeah, maybe not. It depends. Some of them are really expensive, to be fair. Unseen Forces is pretty expensive. Team Rocket Returns EX cards are pretty expensive. EX Dragon is pretty expensive. But I mean, you see my point. For the usage of money is a big conflict that I'm having recently, you know, because I would like to create one of the best binders in the world. And for that to be possible, you know, in most forms of perspective, you know, I would need to have some of the rarer cards in the hobby. And for the record, I straight up absolutely love Miracle Diamond, Mysterious Pearl, and Wonder Platinum. I'm not just pursuing them simply because they are. I mean, Gen 4 is probably, I want to say, I mean, not even want to say, like, easily it is in my top 3 generations, hands down. I played the hell out of Diamond. I remember my Diamond copy, even though Diamond and Pearl get a lot of conflict, sorry, not conflict, it gets a lot of criticism that Platinum essentially resolves. I played like a shit ton of Diamond, and I played an even more shit ton of not Pearl, sorry, Platinum. So I really do love Generation 4. I love the movies. I love the mythical and legendary Pokemon. I absolutely love Giratina. Giratina, hands on, one of my favorite Pokemon. The lore is awesome. It's awesome in the movies. It's really cool how it gets banished to quote unquote hell, which is the distortion world. But I digress. Uh, yeah, so those are cards that I do really want to pursue. Straight up because I love them, and yeah, they are rare. And I'm often in conflict of what should I do? Should I, if I purchase this card, like I don't know the next time I'm straight up gonna be able to purchase cards because I'm not some big oil tycoon. I'm not some crypto internet billionaire. I'm just a regular dude. I just do this like for passion. I'm literally doing this out of loss. Um, and even if I were to get a miracle diamond, I would break it out. So I would lose like probably so much money like doing this as well, doing that as well. Even though I break out like all the cards, but like I don't know, breaking something out like that is freaking crazy. But I mean, I would really do that. So, it leads me to ask myself, well, if I get this card, like I'm gonna be unable to get a lot of cards for a while. I don't know when I'll next be able to get cards because it's a really expensive card. And I asked myself, like, what if I put, because with 20 grand, you could get yourself like a light play copy of like a lot of Grail cards. There's still a lot of Grail cards I'm missing. For example, I really needed. I think in one of my previous videos I spoke about how I really need a Japanese unlimited Rayquaza Gold Star. Easily love that card more than the original. The silver border, the silver card. It's just better. Say what you want, but everyone knows it's true. It's better. There are a lot of Japanese gold stars that I still have to collect. I would love to have an unlimited Trico gold star. In Japanese, I still need a Mysterious Mountains unlimited Zard. I still need a Split Earth unlimited Ho-Oh. There are a lot of key cards that with 20 grand I could just like I could just take them off. I could take them all off. But but it's just so hard to figure it out because those rare trophy cards, they're an absolute spectacle. A lot of people don't even know what they are. And I mean, I'm not like insanely informed. Like there's some really obscure ones like the number 3 trainers with like the actual kids on it and a lot of the battle road cards. Like the really old back the really old back tournament cards. I'm not too familiar with them. I do know like a decent amount about them. I've seen them. I know a decent amount about them. But like knowing all their names, yada yada, it's a little ambiguous sometimes. And I swear, most people who collect those cards generally don't even care about the cards. They just care about the price tag. I swear. Because I gotta be honest, why would you really want a card with just like a little kid on it? Just give it back to the actual adult or now adult who won. But yeah, I mean, So there's a reason I don't really, pursue those cards or have too much knowledge on those cards, because personally I think they're all super overrated, most of them. Um, and but I forgot my other reason. But when it comes to cards like the evolution play promos, just all the play promos in general, Celebi EX, Mew EX, Lugia EX, Regice, Regirock, Registeel, the Groudon, Kyogre, and Rayquaza, Arita play promos. I love those cards. I know a lot about those cards. Um, so it really is just quite a conflict, because my goal is to make one of the best binders, but how do I want to go about that goal exactly? Do I want to take consistent baby steps, or do I want to take massive hurdles out, at very inconsistent times? And that's one way to perceive it. And the thing with the inconsistent hurdles is that throughout that time, the baby steps only get bigger because cards become more expensive. So it's really really tricky. And often I really don't know what to. I honestly really wish I could talk to someone about it. In my previous video, I was talking about enthusiasts and stuff, and it would be really nice if I could speak to someone who's also encountered this kind of conflict before. And the thing is, I can't really talk to like quote unquote professionals or consignment, let's just call them agencies or whatever, because they're obviously just gonna instantly go for, yeah man, you should get the rarer cards, because they consign the rarer cards and they get commission off the rarer cards, so of course they're gonna tell you to get the rarer cards. But it would be really good if I could speak to someone who, like, speak to a genuine actual collector who's been in this situation before, who's like actually built a collection, and like not just full of trophies, but like full of small cards too, quote unquote. And they've been like, yeah, I mean, I was in a spot where I didn't know whether I should like gun for the big cards or stay consistent and just keep building, because honestly I really could do with some advice, because I don't know, like I said, I'm not some oil prince, I really do have limited funds. And I don't know how I would feel acquiring a card if it means that my card collecting journey is just halted for quite a while. I would be very happy with the card, yes, but what do I value more? Do I value scarcity and rarity more, or do I value overall completion? And that's really what I've been perplexed on and thinking about. I wanted to talk to the other person about it, but she's been very busy, so I haven't had a chance to talk to her. But yeah, that's how I feel. That's one of my biggest problems currently. And I really just don't know what to do. I don't know what to do. I'm very, like, sometimes I want the rare one, and other times it's like I should be responsible and I should work towards overall progress and not one specific card. But then I have freaking commission slash consignment agencies saying, hey man, these cards are in limited supply, you should really grab them while you can. And it's like, yeah, I know. And then the FOMO kicks in and stuff. There's just FOMO everywhere. But yeah, that's how I feel. Who knows, in the next 30 days I might own a Miracle Diamond or something. I guess we'll just have to see. But yeah, I'll see you in the next one.